Yeah, it's weird because Lisa's been really hit hard because she's just got it a day after me, and she's had to go and get some steroids and antibiotics. But I've kind of just had it like a really, really, really severe flu. You know, when you're shaking all night. So I pulled a muscle in my leg because of shaking. My ankles and my wrists absolutely kill me. So it's weird, but yeah, but. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Mine's probably just gout. Oh, bless them. Yes, it's my cherry, so I'm quite chuffed I've got it over and done with. Now I know what everybody's been on about. No, it's a bit crap, really. It's the Royal Mail thing of, I'm going to take a few days off. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it's not even licking. Yeah. Yeah. No, they don't have to know. That's the thing, they don't have to know. No, Royal Mail's changing. Like I don't know what. Oh yeah, I could. I could do. No, sick bay. Yeah, they could do, but I get a warning. Yeah, I don't do that. I've never been off sick in my life, so. I'll take a Wally week. No, no, it's like it's just a chuffing pain in the backside. But then again, being out and about is more beneficial. And going on to the spreading it around, yeah, because I'm sweating like a bitch when I'm carrying a bundle of mail in my hand, and the last letter is like soaking wet through with my COVID remains. So it's, there you go, old dear at number 97. Good luck. Yeah. 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 Gave everybody it. Oh dear. My wife thought I was having an affair, you know, because this girl said, "Get yourself tested," you know, from work. And it's like, what the fuck? Why? You're like half an office away. Oh, bless him. Oh, I'm such a stud muffin. Yeah, I just finished it. It's fantastic. Yes. 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 I forgot about him. That's creepy as hell. Yeah. What does he shout? All right, honey, I'm coming up the stairs now. Oh dear. Tripod. Nothing else. Yeah. Oh god. So how is everybody else?
Catching any illnesses?
No, I do feel like a 1990s fast show going Scorchio. Scorchio things on the map.
Yeah.
Nothing ridiculous. But it'd be winter too soon. That's all I'm saying.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Make the most of this weather where you don't have to put the heating on.
Yeah. That's, well, to be honest, I don't need it in the winter. I don't feel the cold much. Grew up on Anglesey, you kind of, surrounded by the Irish Sea, you're used to the cold. So moving inland, it's like, yeah, everything's too warm for me.
Has to be. I was born in Shaw, which is like up in Thills, and yeah, it has to be very cold for me to put a long sleeve on or not wear shorts around the house.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm the same. I grew up with like ice on the inside of the window. You know.
Yeah,
The Southerners staying very quiet.
I thought you were from Blackpool, weren't you?
Oh, yeah, sort of. I've been down here 22 years now, so
yeah.
I'm just
acclimatized.
I've acclimatized.
Drink shandy and everything.
Oh,
I'm still in the north, but I'm further away from the coast. But I've been here 30 odd years, so I was only 16, I think, on Anglesey. But I'm acclimatized to that. Like, snow t-shirt, yeah, okay, it's not a problem. I get dirty looks when I go out in t-shirts in the snow.
See, I spent a lot of years in York, and that being in Vale, you got nothing in York apart from, I think one year we had really bad snow, but it was just wet, cold, and that was it. Because everything broke before it got to York.
Yeah.
All right.
We're good. We're alive. We can go.
All right. Do you know, I was going to say earlier that it feels like it's been like an entire week since we last played, and I realised it had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your senses are keen and spot on.
Nothing wrong with your time clock.
Nothing gets run past him.
It's the heat. Right. Welcome. Part 8, I think.
It is indeed.
Crikey. So, our intrepid investigators found themselves back in New York, back amongst their loved ones, their sort of everyday, day-to-day lives. You have spoken at length to Janet. You've outlined what you've learned so far, and it seems she is equally keen for you to travel to Ethiopia to learn more, especially if this contact that you're looking for somehow has a link to her father. So she'd like you to continue the investigations. Now, obviously, some of you have jobs, day-to-day jobs and things to do. So I think we left it last week with you undertaking or thinking about undertaking a number of activities outside of the main spine of the adventure. Things like researching books,
things Trummel. No.
Like finding, re-establishing connection with your pillars of stability, things like that. So I thought what we'd do, first of all, is how long as a group do you want to loiter in New York for?
Oh, sorry, I thought we were still in Los Angeles after we...
No,
we travelled and talked to her, didn't we?
Yeah, you travelled, came back, you explained to her what you'd done.
Right, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
I think it's probably down to Ralph. Because you've got the most time consuming. This is my job, so it's not having any impact on me. However long it takes research and you to learn how to shoot straight without hitting anyone else, I'm just going to carry on as I normally do, really, just put out some feelers.
Yeah, I just need to basically sort out somebody to look after the shop, take care of any business.
See, Joseph's independently wealthy, so doesn't need a job. This is my job that I've been hired to do, so...
But
to be fair, you've been given a $500, which is more than you would see normally in an entire year. So,
I could probably pay the bills on the shop for the time I'm going to be away, and then just probably put a forwarded number if it's anything important, or a mailbox. But yeah, beyond that, it's just get to the range for a little bit, take some tuition.
Okay. All right. So, shall we go round to you each one at a time, and you can tell me what you're doing, how you're doing it, and we'll go from there. We'll start with you, Ralph. Actually. So first of all, I think you were going to study a couple of books, right? Can you remind me what those books were?
Oh, hang on. I think I put it in my notes. Where are the books? I think I marked them. Where are they?
So I think you're going to do Cults of the Examite Empire.
Yeah, I marked them. Cults of the Examite Empire and Fishing the River Stars.
Okay. All right. It's going to take you probably the best part of 5 days to go through both of these books by studying them in detail.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit of time. You can probably spend an hour and a half a day on the range at the same time. But ultimately, your focus for the majority of the time is on studying the books. Have a look.
I think as we'll probably need to get everything arranged for what we're going to be taking with us as well.
Yeah.
Because we're going to Ethiopia, and could be anywhere. So we probably need to put a request in for equipment. So I'll let the guys sort that out.
Okay. So the Cults of the Examite Empire appears to be written by somebody called Brill Davidson in 1987. In the style of a thesis.
1887.
1897.
You said 1987. I thought,
yes,
Stranger Things here.
Stranger Things. 1897. By Brill Davidson. It seems to have been as far as you can tell, you do a little bit of research as well and kind of looking at things, your information. This appears to be a purely limited edition that was only ever released in 1897. The cover of this particular version is recovered in some sort of reptilian hide. Something that you can't place, but it seems okay. It seems natural rather than unnatural. The thesis itself is a remarkable work of scholarship. It delves deep into the cult history of the kingdom of Axum along the Red Sea coast during the 5th century BCE, the resurgence of the cults during the Zagwe dynasty of the 12th century, and even hinting darkly of evidence that the cults were still present, or at least the folk beliefs, well into the 19th century, as the interior of Africa was open to European eyes. There are suggestions that Italian colonists may have carried some of the Axumite beliefs back to their homeland, possibly infecting Masonic lodges in Venice and Rome with their barbaric rites. In the thesis, Davison also references the revelations of Glaki, suggesting strange parallels between those apocryphal books of prophecy and lurid blasphemies and the Axumite beliefs he charts over the course of a millennia. There are times when it's unclear if he's suggesting that both the English text and the Axumite beliefs spring from a common source, or if he believes that the Axumite beliefs may have somehow travelled to Europe much earlier than the 19th century, possibly via Roman legionaries, and found fertile soil in Celtic Britain. The last 3 dozen pages of thesis are given over to a detailed symbological analysis of the prisoner of Glaki and the maw of the mouth, equating the two figures on a deep level through complicated Jungian metaphors, despite the gross differences of their disparate mythologies.
Okay, now we need an English translation for all of that.
As a result of spending time poring over this thesis, you gain +1 in your Cthulhu mythos skill.
And a slight wibble.
Now, that hasn't affected your sanity just yet, but, you know.
Good time.
Get in there.
Your sanity is only, you only lose your sanity when you act upon things that you've learned, it would appear. Whereas normally in the classic basic roleplay system, your sanity would decrease by 1 point for every Cthulhu mythos it increased. The second thing you discover, and I'm going to see if I can do this for you first. Let's have a look. It would appear not. It would definitely appear not. Is you learn the spell to open...
Say what?
You learn the details of a spell to open the sky from photographs of stellae meticulously reproduced in the text.
Any idea what that does?
Yeah, let me
It
dig
pulls
it
a
out.
lightning bolt and hits you on the head.
Fireball.
Let me dig it out for you.
Oh, it's actually a thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Where do we put spells then?
Oh, I don't think you do on this character sheet. You just have to put it in notes.
Okay.
It's called lightning, basically.
Ralph the Wizard.
No, normally when this happens, you go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Yes, I think it's might be something specific to the campaign. That's interesting. Okay, it's specific to the campaign. That's why I can't find the information for you. Okay. The spell to open the sky, known by many names across many cultures, parts the clouds and alters the visible phase of the moon and the apparent arrangement of the stars overhead, artificially creating circumstances ripe for certain other mystical rites. With this spell, a sorcerer can make the moon appear full or dark, waxing or waning, and can reveal changed stars regardless of weather. The actual gaps in the clouds are minor and fleeting. If it's raining, it continues to rain, and the changed sky is only visible for a mile around the caster. That's often enough to properly prime an altar, open a mystic doorway, or disturb the local populace. This artificial change to the sky is especially prime for key sites across the Earth. Yeah, that's fine. If I carry on reading that bit, I'm going to give you a whole load of hints. It is a stability test difficulty 5. Can be reduced by 1 if you have a theology or physics spend. It will cost you 2 stability or 4 health to cast. And the clouds stay parted for as long as the sorcerer remains in place, chanting, and for 1 minute thereafter. A sorcerer, therefore, cannot cast a spell in a moving vehicle, for example.
You said that was what was it? Theology or
Physics.
physics?
Yes.
Probably theology. I'll take them.
Well, you can. Yeah, it's theology or physics. You can use either of them to reduce.
Yeah.
To reduce it.
Well, I'll start with putting a point in theology, seeing as though that just opened that up.
No worries.
So.
So just bear in mind, that's a stability 5 test. So if you fail the test, you would lose 5 points of stability. So
Yeah, I'll spend more points on it because I'll spend the 1 point because that's opened up, and then as we go on,
No, you don't have to spend anything to learn it.
Oh no! But I'd like to have the skill to be able to use it at some point. So I'll put a token point in that I picked up by reading the text, and then I'll spend points in later sessions putting it up.
Got it. Okay. So that's the first book. I can do this. Let me.
I put it in my notes.
Okay, I'm gonna. There you go. I have. That's the entire. So in the chat, in the game, you should see the entire text posted. So if you wanted to cut and paste any of that, you can do.
Yeah, it's going into my notes.
The second book, remind me, was
Fishing in the River of Stars.
Fishing. Is that just because you thought it was a good title?
I thought because we discussed about the River of Stars in one of the. So I thought it might be something to do with that.
Okay. This is another rare book. It is, in fact, another first edition. Certainly worth a lot of money to the right person. It's a strange and curious text, reputedly among those in the blasphemous library of Auguste Chapdelaine, recovered during the Second Opium War, and brought back to London in 1858. The origins of this anonymous work were lost with Chapdelaine's life. Chapdelaine, along with other Chinese Catholics from his circle of followers, were arrested and executed in Yaoshan, helping to precipitate France's involvement in the war. Reputedly, Chapdelaine was condemned for his missionary work, but darker rumours suggest that it was dark rites emerging from his study of forbidden Chinese texts, which ultimately brought down the wrath of the local mandarin. Fishing in the River of Stars is reputedly a first-hand account of the rise of the Northern Song dynasty during the 10th and 11th centuries in China. Much of its bulk is taken up with routine and unsurprising bureaucratic revelations, but the choice passages which have given the book its particular notoriety are those revolving around the legendary engineer Zhang Sixun, who served Emperor Taizu of Song. Yang Sixun is said to have been served by a council of thrice-mouthed advisors, each of whom was said to speak with 3 tongues and to balance the words of one hand against the other. The strangely cryptic and disturbing inhuman descriptions of these advisors are echoed eerily in the description of the inner or secret gardens of Emperor Taizu, where the author reputedly saw flocks of blue-green hummingbirds, their feathers flecked with gold and with lipped mouths gaping upon their hovering back. There are also suggestions that the ingenious armillary sphere of Zhang Sixun's astronomical clock tower, which employed liquid mercury in its escapement mechanism, was only the precursor or broken model of the true clock tower which was hidden by the emperor. This true tower was reputedly powered by reddened mercury. In its final black chapters, Fishing the River of Song reputedly supports a legend that claimed Emperor Taizong killed his brother Taizu to inherit the throne. Here, however, it is intimated that the Golden Shelf Promise, the sealed document which validated Taizong's claim to the throne, was filled with such horrid blasphemies that its golden inks were placed in flame until they melted in scrambling lead, and the scroll was replaced with a more palatable forgery. As for the bizarre claims that the honey of the hummingbirds nevertheless corrupted the blood of Taizong's sons, it can only be said that the text descends into almost incoherent poetry, and the true meaning of whatever metaphor is being sought is perhaps lost within the archaic Chinese. There are no tangible benefits beyond the things that you read. by spending a couple of days poring over this book.
Apart from you going insane from the amount of poetry. That would drive me insane, that's for sure.
That said, there is the text for that book. The rest of the downtime you absolutely can spend on the range, getting yourself familiar with and learning to shoot. A couple of times you are joined by Alfred and Joseph.
I was going to say, I would quite happily go to the range with him.
You still have, 4 or so more books, and depending on how you travel, it is going to take you probably 20 or so days to get to Ethiopia. At least 20 days.
Yeah, give me something to do on the way.
Give you time to at least read on the aeroplane over to Europe, if you wished.
Yeah, we'd rather you didn't practice your shooting skills while on the plane.
Are you planning to hook up with any of your sources of stability or pillars of sanity?
Yes, my parents.
Okay. All right.
Pillar, yeah. And I will also I will. I'll take a walk around a couple of museums as well, and art galleries.
Okay, no problem. All right. So, you didn't. Do you have any? You didn't. Did you have any health damage?
Nope.
Okay. Are you down on any stability at all?
No.
Okay. Well, you would be able to refresh your stability. Okay, that's fine. Good. All right. Let's go to Civ.
Mine's quite straightforward. Having got back to New York, the first person I'd go to see would be my mama, Beatrice Westmore, just to make sure the old dear is still upright and breathing, and give her my best fondest wishes and spend time. My second point of call would be to find my brother James.
Okay.
And would probably, if he's not busy doing businessy things like he does, I would probably take him out for a quiet drink and just go over what's happened, but in a non-detailed way, if you know what I mean. Just the fact that we went down from down to LA and we'd run out by the police for some goddamn reason.
My brother is curious to know what you did to cause the police to run you out of town.
Well, to be honest, James, we're just asking a few questions about Janet. Do you remember Janet? Janet Winston Rogers.
Yes, Winston Rogers. Yes.
About her father's death. He died down there, So we're asking a few questions, and suddenly we were enemy number one. But not in a kill you kind of way. It was just a get out of my town, we don't come back. They planted this stuff called nectar in our room.
Oh.
Have you heard of it?
Has he heard of it? Do you, it's up to you. If you want to spend a point of preparedness, then yes, he's heard of it.
Would he though? Because he's like the more professional brother.
Okay, so he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. No, we'll go with no on that. No.
Okay. No, he says he hasn't heard of it, and he suggests that if it's a drug, you keep yourself well clear of it, brother. I know you have a a penchant for trying new things, but I would suggest you don't try this.
Oh heavens, no! It's more the fact that it seems to be involved in what happened to the old boy. So yes, but no, they use that to frame us as well. It's quite well, bless them. That's the police for you.
Indeed, it is. Well, he tells you to try and stay on the right side of the law for Mama's sake.
Oh, always, James, always.
And whilst you're back home for a couple of days, Mama spoils you rotten with various foods and attention.
Which is how it should be.
She buys you a new smoking jacket and a cravat.
Now we're talking.
And she's very intrigued to know about the famous people that you met in Los Angeles.
Oh, and I will regale her with tales of Laurel and Hardy and Buster Crabbe and all those other famous people we met in that wonderful night.
That other guy as well, Buster Nut.
Buster Nut, yes. Yes, and Golgoth the no.
All right. Well, you have again. Are you any of your stability down? Your health down?
No, we refreshed that, didn't we? Last.
We did.
Yeah, so I'm good. I'd also like to check in on Janet. Just nothing, mate. Just to have a general catch up.
Yeah,
you friend, not about the business, but purely a friendly catch up.
Yeah, you can spend a couple of days here and there having dinner or lunch with Janet, all above board and. The usual kind of thing.
Yeah, I also, again, if Ralph goes out shooting, I will go with him.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to do is make sure my sabre is sharp and in my bag, ready to go.
Okay. That's the other thing. Think about equipment that you might wish to pack on the plane. Bear in mind, your destination is Ethiopia. Now, Ralph, you have... not Ralph, Joseph. Do you have outdoorsmen? You do, don't you?
Do I have outdoorsmen? Let's have a look.
It's something I want to put on mine, but it's not there to add.
I should have, but I don't. Architecture, theology, athletics, concealed disguise.
It was listed on the PDF character sheets that we were given, but mine had 0 points.
Yeah.
But I can't find it.
It's on technical abilities, especially.
It's under technical, and you've got no points.
No, I've got 0.
Yeah. Okay.
We probably need to see if there's any contacts the pilot might know of, guides.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have gone out there shooting anyway at some point, but I would have had a band of guides to carry everything and show me where to shoot and point my gun for me.
Okay. So what you know, essentially, it's bloody hot, right? So you would need to consider the heat while you are out in the deserts of Middle Africa. And then there's also the usual kind of gubbins, right? There's the usual deadly animals, snakes, spiders, stuff like that to consider. Second to that is paperwork.
I do have bureaucracy, which is a bonus. That's good.
Yeah. Any of you don't have bureaucracy?
No, I am.
Okay, so there's just Joseph with bureaucracy.
Yeah, I don't have it.
So Joseph, you can help the group for a 1 point bureaucracy spend to... Actually, no, you don't need to spend anything on this. Don't worry about it. Because you have bureaucracy, you can guide the group in getting the necessary permits and, the travel documentation, passport, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I'm assuming the 1930s needed passports, but I'm not sure.
Yes, it'd be a piece of paper, isn't it, with your picture on, and it's highly forgeable. And there's no jabs involved, I think, at this time.
No, none whatsoever.
And also, I think Joseph has been to Africa on safari a few times, so he would be well aware of the...
Possibly not Ethiopia.
Not Ethiopia, no.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you spend some of your time gathering, like you say, spending time with your family, reconnecting with mama, with brother, getting a handle of what's happening with the business and that kind of side of things. I mean, the business doesn't really interest you, but you keep your hand in it because you just don't know what might happen to older brother. Right? If something were to happen to him, then business would fall on your shoulders. But actually, you spend a little bit of time with Frank Keynes, the pilot.
Yep.
Refreshing your memory on how to fly the aeroplane and stuff like that, and you start talking. Now, what you learn is that he isn't actually able to get you anywhere near Ethiopia. There isn't an airport in Masao. There is a seaport in Masao.
Right.
So his suggestion will be to fly you into Cairo, and then for you to either find passage on a seaplane or passage on a dhow that goes down the coast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely. Yes. No.
And he will therefore base himself in Cairo.
Wonderful. And we'll work from there. Fantastic. No. Thank you, Frank. That's very good information.
He estimates as well that the journey is going to be a little bit convoluted, and so he basically tells you
Greenland, London, Paris, and then
it's going to basically go Greenland, London. So it's going to be Nova Scotia, Ireland to London, London to Paris, to Marseille, to Rome, to Brindisi, to Athens, to Alexandria, to Cairo.
Gosh, it's like one of those buses you go when you're a teenager through every single town in the.
It's going to take you approximately. It's going to take probably something like 35 hours to get transatlantic from New York to London, and then a further. So what's that? That's a day and a half, and then a further
4 days.
Probably 4 more days to get from London down to Cairo. So he reckons it's about 5, maybe 6 days in total to do the journey.
That's very fast, Frank.
But he thinks
without breaks, is that though?
He won't. He won't fly transatlantic. He'll fly transatlantic without stopping, obviously, because you can't do it any other way.
But it's daytime for him, isn't it?
But he prefers daytime, so when he gets back over land, he will fly as much daytime. Okay, so it's probably then. It might be more closer to 6 to 7 days in total from New York to Cairo. Okay. All right, Alfred, what are you going to do?
Initially, go back to home to see the wife and the kids. I'll let them know that the job is taking longer than expected, and I'm going to be out of the country, but I won't give any specifics as to what's going on. I don't want to worry them.
Your wife says, is this anything like the war, darling?
Not really. It's more finding out what someone did.
So you will come home to us?
I fully intend to, yes.
Good.
I do know about her sleeping around. That's already been established.
Yes, you do.
It'd be a very poor PI if I didn't know that. But yeah, I'm not gonna go overboard with anything. I'm keeping my distance for the time being.
Well,
so that I don't worry them.
Will you send me a telegram?
Yes,
from
I
wherever
will.
you are as often as you can.
As often as I can, I will.
Very good. She pecks you on the cheek.
I'll tell her that I'll be. She needs to get in touch with me, she can get in touch with through George.
Okay.
Because they'll know George as well, anyway.
Yes.
And I'm going to fill George in on what's going on. He probably already knows most of it anyway through his wife.
Yeah, he knows. He knows bits of it. She didn't tell him everything, and some of the things that she saw, she didn't necessarily believe herself.
Yeah, the really outlandish stuff, that's the supernatural type of stuff, I won't mention.
Yeah.
But I will mention about Captain Walker
Okay.
and see if he knows, if he's got anyone he trusts in the LA Police Department to keep an eye on him and find out what he can about him. And mention Trammell. Nothing that will get them in trouble or tip their hands, just to get any information he can so that we're a bit better prepared when we do go back.
Okay. He's not sure he has anybody, but he will certainly take some time to try and find somebody that he can reach out to.
I'll mention the PI that was hired by the captain to
Got it. Yeah.
assault us and things, so that he doesn't go to that same person, for example. If there's anyone that he knows out there.
Sounds good.
And apart from that, I'll reach out to my drinking buddy, ex-army, see if he's got any way or knows anyone that we can get equipment for going over to Africa.
Okay.
Things
do you
like
have preparedness?
I do.
Then yes. Talking to your buddy, he can source a few stored World War One artifacts.
I want to see if we can get rifles, because there's dangerous wildlife about, and survival type gear like canteens and bivouacs and things like that type of thing, just to, because we don't know, well, I don't know what we're going to encounter out there. So best to be over prepared than under.
Okay, so you can definitely and you've got some cash to splash, so you can spend the week kind of mixing yourself between the various people you want to see, the people you want to talk to, as well as liaising with Joseph on getting access to some material for your journey. That is not a problem.
When we're at shooting range, I'm going to be refamiliarizing myself with rifles more than the pistol.
Okay.
I keep up to date with the pistol anyway, but I probably haven't used the rifles much since the army.
Yep. You can definitely do that. So you can get yourself a standard. I'm just looking for it all in the book. I can't find it in the book.
Would having weapons skill cover rifles as well, or is that
no? It's firearms.
It's firearms, right?
So weapons is melee weapons like swords, sabers, lances, spears, nunchucks.
Yeah. So I have a firearms of 6, but I only have a small pistol. Would I be able to use a rifle with that as well?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Because I'll bring the elephant gun.
You see, my firearms is only 8, but I had nothing in weapons, so I put points into weapons because I should have something from my army days with bayonets and. Yeah. I don't know whether he'd have any sword skill or anything, but.
Well, no, the bayonet was the main thing, wasn't it? It was like jabba jabba.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, based on your background, that you made it to officer rank in the army.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so.
Or as it would have been expeditionary force, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking mainly knife and bayonet type thing, or
bayonet maybe, for sure.
Maybe a what's that blade that they use for cutting through jungles?
Oh, Bowie knife.
No,
Machete.
Machete, sorry. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
we probably all need machetes.
Thanks. Yeah.
Probably all need M1903s as well. The Springfield rifles.
Oh, is that with the side loading thingy?
It's the standard US Army from 1903. Yeah.
Right.
We
Yeah,
could
that's
get
right.
the late one actually.
There's one that's
There's one after
with a little bit early.
1922. There's one in 1922.
There you go.
When did the M1 come out though?
Look this up. I know that the automatic one is we're a little bit too early for, but literally like 2-3 years early.
Okay.
See if I can get a sight on it as well, in case there's big cats or anything that we need to shoot at range, and I can use that as a backup binoculars. I know they're not high powered back then, but there were sights around for a long time before that.
So you want to go? So what do you want? The 303?
I think we can get the yeah, because I think the late ones are 22, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not covered in the book either. So
Yeah, the 303 is the 1903 model.
yeah,
it's bolt action.
well, the 303 actually is the UK combat rifle.
It'll be the same caliber, but
Whereas you've got the .3006 rifle,
yeah,
although that was 1936, which was the Mark 1 Garand, which was the US combat rifle.
mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the one they took into the war with them, Second World War.
And that's the semi-auto. I think it's got the Springfield 1903s, 303 and 306. So it must have had two lots of two releases.
So yeah, you can add those. They will count as heavy firearms, and they will have 8. How many shots in the chamber for those?
Is it the M1 Garand?
No, the 1903 Springfield. We're going.
Mark 1.
Wait, so it was the Mark 1?
Well, 1903 Springfield is the Mark 1, yeah.
Not the Mark 1 Garand.
No, that's a 1936 rifle,
Yeah.
so it wasn't available.
Yeah.
I'm just having a quick look.
I'd probably have the Remington, the M34.
The M34, sporting rifle?
Yeah, it's only a .22 though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a light firearm.
Mm.
The advantage is it has 20 shots.
That could be handy.
If you want an elephant rifle, that's the Holland & Holland Double Express .600 elephant rifle, 1903.
Because there's probably one kicking around the house somewhere, isn't there?
Here's the thing: it does +2 damage, but next round, the next round action must be an athletics test, difficulty 3, to remain upright.
No, I love that.
Boom.
Oh, see, I could do that as well. Difficulty 3.
Yeah. So if you want, you can add. You can certainly add a Springfield rifle to. It is the rifle that
5. 5 in. I can see a picture. It's got 5 in the clip in the thing it goes in.
Yeah. And then you can get yourself some ammo. So you need to just decide how many rounds of ammo. So you can all get yourself a Springfield heavy rifle with 5 shots.
Okay.
So I can add a weapon.
Okay, how do we edit the damage on this?
Hold on. I'm just looking. I just want to figure out how I can get rid of the damage.
Yeah, okay, that's...
Right, hold on.
Editing. Yeah, they're not editing.
Just do this, Okay, so...
I picked up a M1911 as well, didn't I?
Yeah.
If you hit the cog in the top right, you can alter the bits and pieces.
Yeah. Okay, so it is ammo capacity is 5. So, for instance, Joseph, I've just added a Springfield rifle. You'll need to spell it properly because I spelled it wrong there. I don't know why.
Abilities can be firearms, isn't it, rather than scuffling?
Yeah.
So base damage would be...
Right, hang on.
Sorry.
It's a heavy weapon, right? I think that's what we decided.
Yeah.
Oh, +1 damage, it says here.
So a heavy weapon is a +1 base damage. And then you get modifiers depending on range and stuff. So... Alright, so we're not specifically going to track ammo. Okay.
Okay. No chance of jamming or something, is it?
I will decide if there is a chance of jam. Okay.
I put ammo in my equipment anyway, so...
Okay, what was the base damage again? Sorry, in the...
So the base damage is +1.
Yeah.
And then you get... hold on. That's going to do my heading. So the base damage is plus... well, I was just looking at the one on Joseph's character sheet. Base damage of +1. You get a +2 point blank range. You get nothing at close, near, or long.
Does have long range though, doesn't it?
Does have long range, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And click the tick button.
I need to put the...
So it's now showing as point blank is +3 because it's +1 for heavy weapons and +2 for close range. Oh, point blank range. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So you select the range, you see. So the first one is point blank, and then it's further out.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the cult? Sorry.
The
Is the M1911? Is that a light weapon?
The M1911. But we will track ammo in the sense that if you have used your rounds, then depending on if there's a lull in combat, you could just reload. If you're in the middle of a fight and you've got somebody breathing down your neck, then I'll maybe make you make a firearms check to reload.
Yeah.
But what you don't have to do is you don't have to calculate, I've got 10 clips on me, right? We're just going to assume you walk into a situation with enough ammo to cover what you think would be a decent fight.
Yeah. I mean,
the Lee Enfield 303 is a heavy firearm. The difference there is that has 10 rounds in it. That's a UK combat rifle, though, so you won't be able to get that. The Garand is 1936, the Mauser 1935, Walter P38 9mm is a 1938. So those are slightly off track at the moment. What were you looking for, Soren?
Colt 1911. Just the stats for it.
The Colt 1911. It's not in the book. Oh, Colt 1911 automatic pistol.
Yes.
It is a heavy firearm with 7 shots.
7 shots. Is that +1 base damage?
+1 base damage, +2 for point blank range, yeah.
And a -1 difficulty to unjam and repair.
Yes. Yeah, there should be one of those. Hold on. Have you manually added it?
Yeah, manually added now.
Yeah, okay. Anything that has seven ammo in it, by the way.
Yeah.
Anything that Alfred wants to take with him?
Well, yeah, probably the Springfield rifle. If you can get a bayonet that you can put onto it.
Correct, you can get a bayonet for it.
Yeah, I shall get a bayonet as well. And he's got his normal pistol. I don't know what model it is, but it's firearm-like.
A bayonet would count as a small improvised weapon. So
right, okay.
Let me
edit that. There's already a small improvised weapon on there. I'll just rename it.
Yeah, cool. So that's a -1 damage.
Yeah, so that's the same as the brass knuckles.
Yeah. Obviously, that's stabby damage versus bludgeoning damage.
I was going to say, have you anything about a saber? No, I was just trying to look in my.
I would say a saber is going to be a big improvised weapon.
On the bottom of my sheet there, I've got sword at +1. So
Yep, sword counts as a heavy weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess a saber would be a sword.
Mm-hmm.
Machete would probably be small.
I'm going to say, actually thinking about it, your bayonet is probably a big improvised weapon rather than a small improvised weapon. So it would have a base damage of 0.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what a machete's got, isn't it? 0.
Yeah. So it'd be the equivalent of a machete.
So my saber would be a 1 damage plus 1 damage. Nothing at point blank?
No.
No.
Oh. No, because it's only firearms that get the +2 at point blank.
That's right, yeah.
You get nothing at long range, though.
Yeah, you
throw it! Ammo capacity? I don't think so. Right, so I've got a light firearm. I've got my knife, my saber, and my Springfield heavy rifle.
Yep.
My pistol, Springfield rifle, machete, and a bayonet.
In terms of all the other gear, I'm going to assume that if you've got a preparedness skill, you most likely thought of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That might be a little bit more esoteric. So that would be things like canteens, that would be compasses, that would be bivouacs and things like that, blankets.
Tent.
But
hydration tabs.
But for things that are a little bit more out there, I may make you spend a point of preparedness or 2 points of preparedness, depending on what it is that you are asking for.
Well, I've put artillery strike bomber on mine. just in case.
Well, yeah, the thing is, Joseph could probably afford one. But no,
Mama, I'm in a spot of bother.
Yeah, I wanted to put a point in outdoorsman from training in the military, but I haven't got the option.
I've added it to your sheet. If you go to edit, you will see it is now on your sheet. Under technical.
No, it's not.
Should be.
I've got astronomy, chemistry, craft, evidence collection, and forensics.
Yeah, outdoorsman next to photography.
Pharmacy, photography.
Close your sheet, reopen it.
And I've got less things there now. I've got evidence collection, forensics, locksmith, photography.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, hang on a minute. Let's click on edit.
Not there.
No, it's not there.
Yeah, so that is just proof that the tokens that I've dragged onto the main sheet here do not bear any resemblance to the actual character sheets.
Mine's got it on, so.
Give me a second.
I'll close my.
You should have it now. If you open it back up, you should have it now.
Yep. Go. Yeah. I'll put one into that. It'll be basic training because I've not been out to Africa, and I've got 1 point left to spend on something.
I went out and bought a whole lot of safari clothes, because I've seen some pictures of people out there in Ethiopia wearing these funny khaki tops and these wide-brimmed hats.
Yeah,
those pants with the really wide sides on them.
Yeah. You can absolutely bedeck yourself in those kind of things.
And a tent, one of those tents where they have the wooden poles in the middle, and it takes about 20 people to put up, but only I can sleep in it.
See, I'm beginning to think that maybe I should put 1 point into fleeing, so that way I'm not the slowest. Getting chased down by a lion, it doesn't matter how fast I am as long as I'm not the slowest.
That's right. And you've got to be very dexterous with your feet because we might trip you up.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else any of you wish to do before we decide to set course for?
I think we've got most of the stuff there. If we think of anything, we're going through civilization on the way there. So
I mean, Cairo's our last stop to buy things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Floating cash wise, I think the 800 was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take that with us. I mean, there's banks on the way if we need more floating cash, but we'll take that because it's free money, isn't it?
I mean, that just gives you so she'll give you another $500 for your return. That's what she promised, right? 500 up front, 500 when you get back.
Yeah.
So you can all add another 2 points. You can all add a separate credit rating of 2 plus whatever else you've still got from your previous 2 credit rating that she gave you.
I don't think I've used any of that yet.
No, I don't. No, I don't think any of you have actually used it. Or
No,
been very frugal.
I'm your cash cow.
yeah, you've been using most of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the money that I was given for the job, I'd have probably put in the bank.
Okay.
I was more about the duffel bag full of $840.
Yeah, the ones that we got off the PI.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've got that. That will give you an extra 3-point pool for one of them.
So we might as well use that because that's going to last us ages, I would think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Where can I put that? Can I
just put it under notes.
Notes.
So anything under note, any specific pools, because you will get more as you go along. Just put them under notes and just say how many total points and how many you've spent, so you can track the usage. One final thing, Ralph. You settle on a youngish gentleman in his early 20s, just out of kind of academia, who is very capable and more than willing to look after your bookstore for you whilst you are away. And obviously, you will let him know that your parents, probably your father, will pop in on a regular basis to make sure everything is okay.
Yeah, I'll give my father's details as well.
And Margaret also promises to keep an eye out on the bookstore for you as well.
Yeah, I'll also, if Margaret doesn't mind, if there's any problems, the lad can go to my father, who will get in contact with Margaret.
Yeah,
and she can wire a message to me.
Yeah,
because she'll know at what point should be in certain cities.
Yeah. Okay. So by the time you've gathered everything and are ready to go, it is midday, Friday the 20th of November. You have 7 to 8 day, a 7-day journey ahead of you down to Cairo, unless you want to stop off anywhere. The journey out is pretty straightforward. In terms of the stuff that you've found so far, what are you bringing with you on the airplane, other than the gear for the safari and clothes and things?
Cameras.
Yeah. But I'm thinking more the stuff that you've found in places like Savannah, Los Angeles, all that kind of stuff.
Photos, definitely.
Oh.
Yeah, how many books do you want to take?
I'm bringing all the books.
They're going to be a bit heavy, I would have thought. That's what I was thinking.
They can still be playing anyway, can't they?
7 of them.
I've got a tent.
Yeah, I think we've all got tents as part of the camping gear. Are we bringing any of those stones along?
We got pictures, I think. That'll do.
Yeah. Apart from that, the only thing that we've got is books and the extra camera. Everything else is basically photographs and.
Okay. So you remember you had the box that you found in Henslow's garden.
That's right.
That had the journal, the knife, the tablet.
I forgot about the knife and the tablet.
Yeah, that's coming with us because it's from Axamite, isn't it?
Okay.
Didn't we have a picture of heirs?
No, I don't think you do.
No, right.
Was there a picture at the
university of faculty? Yeah,
that we saw. Can't remember.
No, we asked that, and it wasn't. It's not the kind of time where they put the picture on the wall, is it?
No,
it's more of a modern thing.
Yeah. One thing I've just thought of. Do we need to check anything out about this Bartolo Acuna in Madrid? He's gone out there for the archaeologist, but do we need to check something out where he's based from before we go out there, or just to put him
See
out
if he's
there.
genuine.
Do you know where he was based from?
Madrid. We got his address. It's in the little black book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether it's a lead to check out here or just search for him out there. Because if he's not here, we're not going to find out a great deal, are we? That's he's the one that set up the archaeological dig that Ez has gone to.
So it's you. You tell me.
I don't think we're going to find out much.
Well,
Madrid.
we don't really want to go in blind anyway, but maybe to refuel, maybe we could spend an hour or so driving to his address or to his offices.
Well, if we're going to be there, it will take a day. We'll add a day to it, and
Yeah, if it's on the way, if we're having to land in the area, then yeah, we might as well. I admit my geography is useless. I don't know whether we'd be going there or not.
Well, it was going to be down from Paris to Rome, wasn't it? And then
Correct.
across that way, yeah. So, I mean, it would add an extra leg onto the journey.
Yeah,
Because you're going right instead of left.
Probably add an extra day in total.
Yeah.
yeah, because we could go from Paris to Madrid, Madrid to Rome.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, we could go London to. Do we need to go to Paris? Could we go London to Madrid to?
Yeah, you could do that.
You could, yeah.
It would extend the journey a little bit, but you could absolutely do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the journey from New York will take you out over Nova Scotia. You'll stop at Nova Scotia for a refuel. Then down into Ireland. From Ireland, you will then hop over to London. And then London down to Madrid. The journey sort of from Nova Scotia to Ireland is about 26 hours in total. And boring as hell for most of you. What are you doing on the aeroplane? There is probably enough time on the journey to London for Ralph to study one more book.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll be reading, so I will be reading. Ziggurats of the Pre-Helladic period.
Ziggurats of the Pre-Helladic period.
I'm going to be reading the back of the Times while exploring the depths of this bottle I've just found.
I'll probably be going through all the gear, making sure everything's right, and maybe reading a little bit of one of Ralph's books, seeing if I can actually make head nor tail of it. Probably not. But
Give
all the time.
me a second.
Still don't know what to spend the other points on.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. I'm getting hot. I could do with a drink, and I also want to find the books and post the book for you if I've got it in this collection.
I've just had a drink delivered to me, so I'm fine.
No, I'll do it the hard way. Okay. All right, I'll throw the book up and then we'll go take a break. So it's by somebody called Cornell Alexander. It's a fascinated. What the hell is that word?
Inchoate.
Inchoate and bizarrely unorganised survey of its titular topic. Great and particular attention is given to Sir Leonard Woolley's excavation of the Great Ziggurat of Ur, which was essentially contemporary to the composition of this text. Its dimensions, both real and hypothetically reconstructed, are given in painstaking detail, and some sense of the structure of Alexander's text begins to become apparent as one relates that these dimensions are being equated through complex mathematical transformations to the dimensions of other ziggurats. This perhaps also explains the sharp and sudden departure of the text from its topic, while drawing complex relationships between the ziggurats of Babylon, ziggurats of Achadia, and the pre-zigguratical Zakaru of the Ubaidyan period. Alexander will abruptly introduce discussions of monoliths and other structures from South and Central America, and even from his native Hungary. It then becomes clear that the dimensional diatribes, which at first seem a secondary characteristic of the text, wedged between lengthy narrative descriptions of each site, are actually the primary and utmost importance to the author. And in unwinding the strange cycles of his numbers, one realizes that he's making the bold claim that all of these disparate works of stone draw their ultimate inspiration from the preternatural dimensions of the Black Stone, which the author ultimately claims thrust into the heart of every building constructed by man, thrust into the very subconscious of our modern edifices of pride and hubris. There is no intrinsic kind of game statistic improvements or benefits for reading that book. Other than you kind of know a bit more about ziggurats of the pre-Helladic period.
Whoa.
Who doesn't want to know that?
Dinner talk.
Yeah.
And that's, that is that satisfies your drive, your thirst for knowledge.
I'd like to know who Black Stone is.
It's a good thing to have when you're having trouble falling asleep. Reading it doesn't put you to sleep. The weight of it around the back of the head would probably do the job.
10 minutes, did we say?
10 minutes. Let's take a 10-minute break. Back in 22.
Sweet.
Awesome. True that. Joseph will be doing that all day long. But yes, he will have boots under his robe.
All right, we all back?
Yep. It's okay.
Okay. So you arrive uneventfully in London, refuel, and then get Frank to fly you from London down to Madrid. You arrive in Madrid 8 or 9 hours later. Quite enough time for Ralph to lose himself in another book, though he has started. The arrival in Madrid is uneventful. What are you looking for whilst you're in Madrid?
Well, I'll be looking to get Frank to replenish the amenities inside, so the food and water and whatnot.
No problem.
And I thought we were going to go look for
Bartolo Acuna.
yes, or his halls of residence.
Yeah. Or if he's based at a college, university, or museum, find out something about him.
All right. So how are you going to go about finding him then?
We've got an address in the little black book. We'll see what that's pointing to, whether it's his home address or whether it's his place of work.
Okay, let me double check. That was Heirs of the Black Book, wasn't it?
No, Cavari. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because we've got... I thought it was Ecavarius.
No, it was Heirs, but...
Oh, no, I've got Ecavarius' address was in it. Ecavarius' address, Samson Trammels, and Bartolo Cunas.
Okay. The address that you have when you get into Spain, it's pretty obviously it's a building on the campus of the Universidad Complutense de Madrid. And for posterity purposes, if anybody in the future is ever watching these videos who is Spanish and they go, "Oh my God, you've just destroyed my native language," I apologise.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people butchering Welsh lately. Right. Anyone speak? Well, you two are the linguists, I suppose, aren't you? Got a bit of languages.
Non-useful.
Anybody speak Spanish?
Yeah. I don't
I'm
have
talking with my hand up, could I do? But I do.
Okay.
Okay.
There you go, Joseph. All right. So you get yourself over to the university. The building itself just appears to be like a staff quarters building, all closed up, and you are challenged by a gardener or something because you try and go into that building to look around, and he points you to the main university's entrance and the main sort of reception building for the university. Heading over there, you're greeted by a rather lovely Spanish lady, probably in her mid-30s, long black hair, quite tall, that kind of Spanish, olive Spanish kind of skin. And she asks you in Spanish, so says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen, how may I help you?"
Sorry, I'm just trying to find his name so I can pronounce it properly.
Bartolo Acuna.
Hello, my dear. We are looking for the Bartolo Macuma. We heard he teaches or resides here.
Mr. Acuna is one of our archaeologists. He is unfortunately not on site at the moment.
Joe, the next page I turned over, I've scribbled that name. It's his name.
Yeah.
Do you have his whereabouts at all, or?
May I ask on what is this matter pertaining?
No, we were supposed to meet for a dig in Ethiopia, and we just wanted to meet to get some more details.
Well, Mr. Acuna is currently in Eritrea.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, that's...
Perhaps you can catch up with him there if you're heading in that direction.
Does he have an office here or a secretary?
No, he is merely a member of our archaeology history faculty.
All right. Does he go off these digs quite a lot, or is this a special one for him?
Oh, he travels regularly here and there. He's been on a number of digs on behalf of the university and the Spanish government.
Oh, how wonderful! And whereabouts have his digs been?
Oh, many of them focusing on Middle Africa.
Really, that's astounding. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What has you brought anything back from these digs? I'm so eager to get out there and find out if it's going to be real or if it's going to be just a wild goose chase.
Do you want to give me a skill spend of any kind?
I'm going to give a... Just give me a second. I would like lean forward, clasp her hands in a reassuring way.
Okay.
And just say, I've been on so many digs with people that have just been such a bore. And if this man can do something good, then that is good. Let's do this. There we go, thank you. So 1 point reassurance.
Okay.
That I'm a friend.
She rings through, and after a few moments, a youngish gentleman, probably a fellow, sort of a research fellow, comes through, and the gist of the conversation is, could you take these gentlemen to Mr. Akuna's office and allow them time to peruse his memos and things.
Oh, you are wonderful. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'll bow, kiss her hand, and say, I'm here for the evening. I think. Are we here for the evening?
By now, it is probably late afternoon, so yes, you would be.
So, if you'd like to go for dinner somewhere tonight, I can certainly oblige you. Should I flash respend on that?
Yeah, you can do, yeah. That's fine. So, yeah, she'd be very interested in joining you for dinner this evening. Where are you staying? And all this usual kind of thing. And you give her the hotel, and she says, what time should we go for dinner? And, not being quite up with Spanish customs. No, actually, if you speak Spanish, you probably are. You know that dinner is kind of 9-10 o'clock at night.
Oh, yes, with an egg in the middle that's not cooked.
So you agree to meet her at the hotel for dinner at 9 o'clock this evening. Spending the last, she sort of says she can give you an hour or so before it's time to leave, kind of thing. Spending an hour or so in Akuna's office, there are a couple of cabinets, I suppose, wooden filing cabinets with a number of very neatly bundled papers in, and kind of grabbing some of these at random. They're in not alphabetical. They're in date order, and they're all fairly There's nothing exciting in them. They just seem to be various status reports. Generally of what he's been up to, and
date wise, I'm hoping Ralph's with us, by the way. It's going back to like 1924ish.
There are some back as far as that, yeah. There's nothing that suggests there's nothing that suggests there's any original research. So whatever he was doing in 24, he never penned the actual research that he was looking into. And this is just an example, so don't get carried away too much. He just gives you the example. This is just an example of one of the things that you find, basically. So translated from Spanish, you translate it for the rest of the group. You have asked for a clear accounting of our progress, and although it is tempting to paint a happy face on our experiences in order to reassure you, frankly, I no longer have the stamina for it. Our progress is short, is leaden, After our initial successes and promising discoveries on the outer walls, our momentum has come to a complete halt. Our supplies have been interrupted time and again. Our workers subscribe to an incomprehensible array of holidays on which they will not work, and I am beginning to believe that the American Ayres is a drug addict. In all frankness, it is as though we are cursed by conspiratorial forces operating always just beyond our grasp. That is my accounting of our progress. It is fortunate the Universidad is not paying for these efforts. This seems to be early 25.
That's really good because I just used Google Translate to do that.
I just clicked on the arrow pointing down and there was an English translation.
Oh, thank.
There is a second page which is the English translation below it.
Oh, there is. Damn you, internet.
So those people who may watch the stream on one day and they watch as Mehdi goes and opens a Google browser, pastes this into Translate, and then...
Twice, because the first time I tried to copy it, I copied the image.
Yeah, okay. There you go. So, I mean, there's a couple of things here. Obviously, there's a reference to Ayres being a drug addict. That's interesting. Certainly, it seems to be in the right ballpark. Bartolo Acuna definitely seems to know George Ayres. All that kind of stuff that you were hoping for kind of mirrors and ties up. Whether you can make anything out about the other stuff that he's talking about, you don't know.
What I find kind of interesting is if he's arranged the actual or planned the dig, who's financing it? If it's not university,
it'll be what's his face? Tremel.
Possibly, but there's no reference of Tremel or him knowing Tremel as such, apart from the fact that they're both in the address book.
Ayres knows Tremel, then, doesn't he?
Ayres knows Tremel.
Ayres does, but we don't know whether Acuna.
But think about the period. Think about what you learnt about George Ayres and when he went to Ethiopia.
Yes, Echevarria would have financed it initially, and then Tremel would have taken over from there.
Yeah, because it was before the incident at.
Yeah, it's pretty much on the eve, wasn't it? Well, nearest damn it on the eve, but
yeah.
Just popping off your dig. You guys have a good party.
All right. There's not a lot else you can gather. So you're true to your word. You take the lovely young lady out for dinner. She's very nice and very flattered. And the following day, you meet back up with Frank at the airport and continue your journey, heading across to Rome and then south towards Cairo. The time it takes for that journey, a couple of days, gives Ralph enough time to read and pore over one more book. Does he have a preference?
Rift of the Maw, please.
Rift of the Maw. Okay. The thin, ebon-covered book is a collection of 13 meditative mantras. The character of these meditations, however, is severely disturbing to any civilized mind.
That's me, fuck, man.
They fixate upon imagery of depraved acts, both sexual and violent in their nature and character. Each mantra is disparate, albeit varied, in its perverse obsession, but the common theme which joins the mantras together is that of the mouth and the maw. The maw is the void from which both truth and the turgid release of the flesh emanates. It is the gaping hole beyond the empty gulf, which is the world of mortal perceptions. The mouth is characterized as being connected to the maw. It is the path which cleaves its way through the barriers of the mind which lie between your voided gulf and that place beyond, releasing thereby the wisdom of the maw. It is also the front from which such honeyed knowledge is spewed forth from the world. Delving deeper into the imagery of the mantras, however, reveals another layer of truth, that there is more direct path to the maw, a rift, and that the new mooned rift will give clear skies of truth to those who find it. The final mantra issues a chilling warning against the name of the maw. For the name of the maw is the maw, and the name of the maw is its wisdom, and the name of the maw is its void, and the name of the maw is the gulf which swallows, and the name of the maw is that which destroys. The name, which is not given, is a shortcut by which the maw of the mouth can be regurgitated or vomited into this world, but such sudden and overwhelming truth would sear one whose mind has not been glazed to the stars beyond one's own. I would like a 4-point stability test as you take all this in, please.
Okay.
So your target is 4 on the dice, or better. If you fail the roll, you will lose 4 points of stability. Of course, you may spend as many points as you wish. Very good. You succeed. You gain... Ooh. I'm just going to post this in here so you can just copy and paste this to your... Yeah, it was very close. Copy and paste this to your character sheet. You gain a dedicated... you gain 2 dedicated pool points for any investigative ability involving the maw of the mouth. It says usable once per adventure, but essentially it is usable until that dedicated pool points have gone. And here is the detail of the book itself.
Alfred, you may not want to read that one.
Okay, I shall make a note of the title and avoid it. Just hearing you read this out loud, it made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. So.
I'm just going to say, so the books that you're reading come from the Alexandrian remix of the Eternal Lies, and every single book that's mentioned in the Eternal Lies thing has a section that he's written himself to describe something. I just think it's awesome, absolutely awesome. He put a lot of effort and time into this. Okay. Arriving in Cairo, it is hotter than you're used to, but still relatively comfortable. Probably, kind of hitting mid-30s, low 40s. It's late in the year, and it's certainly cooler, so it's probably it's probably high 20s, low 30s. Frank drops you off, and you kind of unbundle a couple of trunks worth of gear, and you set about looking for passage down to Massau. And you do have 2 choices. You have the seaplanes, which will take you probably... Let's have a look. I'm not sure how far it is. I'll just have a look. Do you know, Massa doesn't actually exist. Did they rename it? Must have been renamed at some point.
Just looking at a 1934 map at the moment.
I'm guessing it's Mitsuwa. Yeah, Masawa. Yeah. So it's slightly it's spelled Massawa now. So what you want to know is Cairo to Massawa. That's quite a distance, isn't it?
It's a fair old trek.
It's 3,000 kilometers by car.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a fair distance.
So it's probably going to be by seaplane. It's probably going to be what, 3 days. Same. It's about 36, 37 hours. It's about the same distance that you cross the Atlantic. Actually, it's probably a bit further than crossing the Atlantic, actually. So we'll call it 2 days travel. Not quite enough, I think, for you to read your final tome. This last tome, this Irresponsible Cultist, is a little bit bigger than most of the others. So you need probably 4 days of time. You can get some way through it, but not all the way through. And we'll come back to that then when you've got a little bit more time. But again, the seaplane is fairly straightforward. Takes off, flies, lands. The difference, obviously, is the landing on water, and that's, the first bit of time is a little bit unnerving, but gradually you kind of get used to it, and it's quite an exciting journey. It will cost you 1 credit rating spend from somewhere, please.
Take it out of the bundle of cash.
Yeah, the pull. So I reduced mine down by 1.
Okay. And so you eventually arrive on the... let's have a look. Where is my... There it is. You eventually arrive about 2:20 in the afternoon on the 24th of November. The temperature here on the coast is a balmy really? I think I got that wrong.
46.
Yeah, it is going to be a balmy kind of 30.
Yeah, it's near the Red Sea, isn't it? Is it Red Sea? So
Yeah.
it won't be as hot as what you think, really.
Well, you see, I'm going to say it's about 26, 27 degrees. It's about 79 Fahrenheit. The arrival, as the plane kind of pulls into what you can only imagine is obviously it is, it's the airport, which is a big pontoon that kind of sits out on the water just away from the docks, where you can see a number of steamer boats and sort of steamer paddle boats that are all moored, and a few dhows here and there. The first thing as you kind of start to disembark is the presence of soldiers, and Italian soldiers specifically. And everywhere you look, there are congregations of soldiers kind of milling around, sergeants barking orders in Italian, and soldiers kind of sat camping, and kind of moving around.
Are they walking backwards?
Why would they be walking backwards?
Italians, aren't they?
This is true.
Do you speak Italian? Speak Spanish? Do you speak Italian as well?
No, I don't think I do. French and Spanish. The two proper languages, other than English.
There is somewhat of a tension in the air between what you think must be the locals and the Italian soldiers. But at the moment, there doesn't appear to be any sort of aggression or overt aggression that you can see. As you finish unloading, a officious-looking man comes forwards, smiling broadly. In his hand, a number of papers, which every so often he kind of just absent-mindedly kind of folds and unfolds. And he comes up to you and he said, in Italian, he says something. Do any of you speak Italian?
Nope.
No.
Okay. He repeats it.
Sorry, don't understand.
Talk back to me in Greek and Hebrew if he wants, but I'm still not going to understand it.
Yeah.
Anybody going to respond in... Well, what language are you responding in?
Well,
English.
Yeah, English.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Ah, English. American.
Yes.
Welcome, Massau.
Thank you.
Why are you here?
To find a archaeology dig.
What happening in Massau? Not many Americans come through. Seems strange you be here.
This is where we told the dig was going to be.
Sorry, who's this? Who's this guy?
Is there a rank? That's all recognizable.
He is the customs officer.
Okay.
You let me search bags, trunk. I look for not allowed things.
What is not allowed? We haven't been told that anything isn't allowed.
Well, I look, and if it's not allowed, I point it out.
Oh, we can tell you that's whether we have this or not.
Are you? So he does have a couple of guards with him, right? Just stood to one side are a couple of Italian soldiers.
I will spend a point of credit rating.
No, I was going to do that. Go on.
You do it then.
You got more to spend.
No, as I'm watching this go backwards and forwards, I'm just going to step over quietly or confidently, shall I say, to this soldier and say, "My friend, we're just here to dig up old relics and bones, and we'd assume that your customs is like my customs, very, very drawn out and boring, and let's not drag this out as long as we can. Really, let's just step away, and maybe if this will help your family, And your friends maybe have a beer or 17 tonight?
He feigns indignance as his hand kind of closes over your hand, and he kind of scrunches the notes up into his hand as he's kind of pushing your hand back. And he says, "But I must make sure safe to come in city. Do you want to spend anything else?"
Well, there's my wand.
Bureaucracy, maybe, or
No, bureaucracy, yes. What's happening here? Why such a large contingent of your fellow troops? I will spend a point of bureaucracy. Maybe if you could guide us through this city, or give us somebody who could guide us through to where we need to go that's safe.
We're told how to get around the city.
He looks at you. He says, "War coming. Soldiers need papers. You safe. Come. I get you papers." And he beams at you.
Let's follow the crazy Italian.
He takes you to a small office just at the end of kind of where the dock is, and he leaves the soldiers with your bags, by the way, so that they don't get rifled through. And he drafts up travel papers that gives you unimpeded travel in Eritrea and the wider Ethiopian region.
Oh, bless him.
Andy?
You need. And he pauses for a second, trying to think of the words, and then he sort of says, "You need friendly face to vouch you're safe. Carlo will vouch."
And I'm assuming he's Carlo?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I'll
He
clasp
holds
his hand.
He held out his hand. "Carlo Salvatore."
Thank you, my friend, Carlo Salvatore. I'm Joseph
You know
Westmore.
where to... Mr. Westmore, good to meet you. Not many Americans here. Stay away. War coming.
Why, thank
Crazy British.
you. Right. Yes. Always trying to take over the damn world, aren't they?
You have place to stay?
Not yet, no. Could you recommend somewhere?
Of course. I recommend Hotel International.
Wonderful.
Probably the only hotel.
this is Haile Selassie, isn't it?
Say again?
This is before the Italian-Ethiopian War.
Correct.
Before the World War. It was in 1935, and they started occupying in 1934.
Yeah, I just googled it.
Haile Selassie. Yeah.
So you've got
My
right.
my granddad told me about this.
Awesome.
1923, Ethiopia joins the League of Nations in September 23. August 28, Italio-Ethiopian Treaty of Friendship signed, guaranteeing 20 years of friendship between the nations. 1930, Italy builds a fort at Walwal, an oasis in Ogaden on the boundary zone between Ethiopia and Italian Somaliland, but well beyond the border established by the 1928 treaty. September 29, 34, so a couple of months ago, Italy and Abyssinia released a joint statement renouncing aggression between each other. November 22nd, 1934, I think. Yeah, that was 2 days ago. 1,000 Ethiopian militia and 3 Piturari, military political commanders, arrived near Walwal and formally asked the Somali-Italian garrison to withdraw. Yesterday, British commission from British Somaliland arrives in Walwal. Confronted by a newly arrived Italian force, British commission withdraws to avoid an international incident, but Ethiopian commissioners remain. The skirmish begins on December 5th between Ethiopian and Somali-Italian forces at Walwal.
I love it when history's involved.
I'm useless at history and geography.
Yeah. So December 634, Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia demands an apology. 1934, December 8th, Italy demands an apology. Demands financial and strategic compensation. January 3rd, 1935, Ethiopia appeals to the United Nations. January 7th, the Franco-Italian agreement gives large parts of French Somaliland to Italy, essentially giving Italy a free hand in dealing with Ethiopia. 1935, Mussolini mobilizes 2 divisions. February 23rd, Mussolini sends large numbers of troops to Eritrea and Italian Somaliland. And then, obviously, a war kicks off, or they're in the middle of a war, and a whole bunch of things goes down. And, yeah.
Gosh.
See, when I was planning on what we'd need for over here, anticipating a war was going to be here wasn't in my planning.
No, with Tiger Tanks out about now. So we need one of those.
And what's interesting, when near March 1936, when Hitler marches troops into the Rhineland, European support for Ethiopia evaporates as France seeks Italian alliance against Germany. And then Italians capture Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa in May 1936. League of Nations sanctions are dropped. Ethiopia is merged into the Italian colonies and becomes Italian East Africa. 1936 to 1941, guerrilla actions in Ethiopia during World War II, and 1941, Emperor Haile Selassie enters Addis Ababa in triumph. So yeah, what you're seeing here is some of the precursor to World War II.
That's astounding. Maybe we could stop World War II.
The Hotel International is a fairly, it's a large affair, probably 4 or 5 floors in height. It's probably luxurious for this area, but it's not anything like the Beverly Hills. It's probably not far off the place you stayed in Savannah. A little bit of a step down.
Okay.
One of you, or all of you, may note that you have Ethiopian and Eritrean travel papers.
Does anybody remember that song at school?
No, you have to elaborate.
Or I've just put in that it wasn't at school actually. Anybody that had from the grandparents, maybe?
No.
Might be because my granddad was in the services in North Africa.
Right.
Yeah, I think my granddad was in India.
Yeah.
My granddad was in Egypt, Cairo, driving wagons.
All right. You have successfully embedded yourself into Eritrea, into Massaw. What do you want to do? It's kind of getting late in the afternoon.
I think we should get a bit of rest, but also try to put the feelers out for any guides.
Yeah, maybe any maps. Give us an idea how far away from.
But also we want to keep away from any British or Italian contingencies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or literally head down where the dig site is.
You learn very quickly that all of the guards in Massau are unavailable. The majority of them have chosen to work for what is a rather high wage from the Italian army. The majority of the rooms in the hotel that you're in have also been taken. You can get 2 or 3 rooms, a room each, but they're certainly not the top quality rooms of the hotel. It would appear that is where several Italian officers and commanders are bivouacked.
In which case, we'll take what's available. When they say that guides are being overpaid, what sort of money are we talking?
Money that, nothing that you couldn't trump. You could definitely beat it.
I don't want to beat it, but it's going to be some stupid amount there. That's the thing. And we need one person.
Yeah, it's
And a
whether
vehicle.
they'll get into trouble with if they suddenly change their allegiance to us from the Italian armies. Don't want to bring trouble down on us. There's got to be a reason they're overpaying.
Well, it's because they're probably the top guides in the area that know the land, and if they overpay, the British can't buy them.
True.
But we don't know that at the moment. It's... Yeah, we want to try and buy a vehicle as well, or commandeer a vehicle to carry our bits and pieces. But we also need to find out where this dig is.
Yep.
So yes, I want to put a tender out for whoever's out there will possibly... there are offices, I'm sure, in these places where you can go and say, right, I need 3 people to carry some bags for us.
Mm. Yeah, okay. You can spend the majority of the rest of the evening kind of putting some feelers out, talking to the hotel, and eventually they will come across a youngish gentleman will present himself to you. Name of Cisse.
Hello, Cisse.
Cisse Dharma. Ah, hello, sir.
We're new to this city, and we're trying to catch up with a dig that's happening in the area. I can pay very well for your help, young man.
I have car.
That was my next question, Cisse. You anticipate my needs straight away.
So, desert.
Where's this going, Eddie? Talking about your needs.
My needs.
Desert.
Young man.
Hello. And all with champagne in the ladies' changing room. What could possibly go wrong? Sorry.
Are we going desert? He says.
Well, hopefully, Cisse, if you know where we're going, you would know the answer to this. We're trying to catch up with a Mr. Bartholomew, so Bartolo Akuma, who came out here some time ago.
He he's a youngish lad. He's probably no more than about 20, 21. Wispy, black, spider strands of a beard, of a goatee. He just looks blankly at the name. I not know Mr. Acuna.
I'm very sorry then. Do we have a map of where we're going to be going?
Was there anything in Kuna's office showing where the dig was?
No, not that you could find.
Yeah, the only information I've got is Dalol. But then you mentioned Eritrea. I was quite excited to see Dalol in Ethiopia. That was before we went to the farm. We found that out.
Not get a map?
No.
I thought I saw a map at some point.
Well, you do have a map. In your bundles of papers.
It was on the itinerary, wasn't it? And I'm sure there was a cross on there.
Correct. Well, it's on the itinerary. Whether there's a cross on there, I don't know, but it's certainly.
Where's that on? Is it on the Los Angeles?
Funnily enough, I was looking at it, so let me share it back with you.
There you go. Got it.
I'm looking at it now.
Cisse looks at you, he says, I'm not going to desert. I take you Mersa Fatma. You find guide who take you desert there. I come back, I go with soldiers.
Wasn't it Nakfa? Seems to ring a bell for some strange reason.
Nakfa? You're just making that shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Dalol, which is down in Ethiopia. That's what I've got as being where the dig site was, but
we're not going to Gondor. Gondor, sorry.
Yeah.
Asking that.
I've got a feeling we kind of did say Dalal, but Axtom's over there as well.
So Cisse establishes that he's happy to take you as far as Mersa Fatma. He can take you by road, though he does recommend that you get a dhow and go by sea. But he can certainly take you, I use the word road liberally, dirt tracks, hardened tracks that vehicles travel along. But he isn't going to go any further than that because he is very much itching to get back and join the war effort. The Italians are paying very well.
Okay.
And he doesn't really speak English. It's very, very broken. He speaks better Italian, and that's it. So he suggests he tells you that in Mersa Fatma, you will find a more westernized guide.
Well, in which case, I reckon we go by sea.
You can get a map and talk to sort of like the concierge equivalent in 1930s in the hotel. You discover that Massau is the regional hub of commerce, the major port in the area, the Italian staging ground for a conflict between Italy and Ethiopia that's generally taking place in the west, in the Ethiopian interior. Mersa Fatma is a small port further down the coast from Massau. Like Massau, it's in Italian Eritrea rather than Ethiopia proper. It's the next logical stepping stone, to Dalol, the site of the 1924 dig. Dhows travel regularly between Massau and Mersa Fatma. You discover that Dalol is famous throughout the 1920s for its exportation of potash.
Why does potash suddenly jump up?
Potash is very much 1929. The discovery of significant potash resources elsewhere made the Africa. Okay, so in the 1910s, it was the Compagnia Mineraria Colonial, the CMC, was the nucleus of dramatic growth in Mersa Fatma in the 1910s. Primarily mined potash from the inland sites such as Dalol. Mersa Fatma was the port by which these resources left the area. However, activity significantly dwindled when potash resources elsewhere made this particular location unprofitable. The CMC withdrew, leaving behind only a small staff to look after its assets in the event that the company never decided to resume local operations. So that's about all you can find. They built and own a rail line that runs from Mersa Fatma to the railhead called Iron Point, which is near Dalol. Dalol itself is a very small outpost of civilization, if it could be called such, over the Eritrean border in Ethiopia proper.
Yeah, in the Irish research notes, it says that the site was located in Dalol in Ethiopia. That's
Correct.
what we got from his notes.
Fantastic.
I knew I'd seen it somewhere.
Yes.
I'm still going through mine. It's just a scribble.
Does anybody want to spend any more points on anything?
So we're not going to be using Sisei, we're just going to get a boat down to Mr. Fatman and then down.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to car it. I don't fancy breaking down halfway there.
Yeah, so I was going to assess honesty on him, but if we're not using him, then there's probably no threat to it.
No,
And
it's yeah, he seems eager enough just to go back and join the Italian army.
Yeah.
But we will give him a couple of coins to organise a boat ride for us down to Mersa Fatma.
We see any boats out that would be going that direction?
Well, you would have to go down to the docks. You'd have to inquire.
Yeah.
Probably not the right time of day to do that now. It's kind of late. It's starting to get to early evening. Anybody have oral history?
Nope.
Yes. I've got that.
Okay, give me a 2
Oral
point
history.
Yeah, give me a 2 point oral history spend.
I've already got 1 point, sadly.
Oh dear.
So, such is life.
Does Joseph not have oral history?
No.
God, yeah. Look, you've got 4 points. You've got 8 points between you all of reassurance, 3 points of streetwise, but only 1 point of oral history, 1 point of interrogation. I can see a summary. It's really cool. I forgot I can see it.
Yeah. Well, 3 of those skills are with me. Oral history is the one I don't have. I've got 3 streetwise, 4 reassurance.
Yeah, I got 4 reassurance, 3 intimidation, and no
2
streetwise.
Yeah, but that's where I put one of my other points earlier on. I don't even know.
I can quickly spend a point if you want it.
I don't even know what oral history is.
It's very much
The spoken past.
Well, that's kind of what it sounds like it is, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
that simple. Oral history. You can find sources willing to talk, win their confidence, and gather oral testimony about historical events, local traditions, folklore, family legend, or gossip. Ability also covers taking shorthand notes and making recordings without spooking your sources.
Okay.
So it's basically gathering information, but through conversation.
Yeah, rather than the streetwise, which is another way of gathering information, but without the talking part necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to hold fire then, and you're going to find passage the following day.
Yeah.
That the go. Okay. The following day, passage on a dhow is very easy to source. You could actually talk to Carlo, and he could very easily get you a dhow down to Mercer Fatna. The cost, fairly negligible to you guys. Are you taking your trunks with all your gear in, or are you just being selective about what you want to take?
So I'll take all the gear that I normally have, which is basically camera, guns, and
all the books that I've already read.
gear.
All the books that I've already read, I'll have taken any notes pertinent, and they'll be with
Frank.
the plane in Cairo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing we really need to bring the stone dagger.
Yeah, and tablet maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, and also supplies.
Yeah, that's what I said. I've got survive what we need to survive and weaponry, and that's basically all I tend to carry around. But I've got the camera as well, which is the only thing that isn't really survival based.
The following morning, Ralph, you are stopped at the front desk by, well, I guess, like, sort of, one of the front of desk staff, manager or something.
Yep.
Excuse me, sir, you, Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Telegram, Mr. Haas.
Oh, thank you.
He hands it over.
Take it. He'll give him a couple of coins and.
Okay. Address is Cairo.
Okay. I'll have a read.
Mr. Haas, stop. Trouble at Mill, stop. Or it could be what the fuck, stop. Essentially, it is a note from Frank to say that the day after you left, he found the lockbox that you had taken from Henslow's place smouldering. And the notebook that you'd left in there was burning. He was not able to stop it, and the majority of the notebook was destroyed.
Which notebook's this one? That's Ralph's been writing.
Henslow. No, the one that Henslow wrote.
Yeah, that was the one that was buried in the graveyard, wasn't it?
Correct. And he basically says, not sure what happened, stop, was not smoking, stop, seemed to just happen by itself. Question mark, stop.
Wasn't this tablet supposed to be a warding thing, or we've taken the tablet with us? That's a bit coincidental.
Very coincidental, because everything was together in that box, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And if you noticed over the past few weeks, I keep asking you randomly, where is the box and what's in the box?
Yeah.
And because you said you took the tablet and the dagger with you, you didn't say you took the notebook. So I assume you leave the notebook behind because it's not relevant and it goes up in flames.
Ralph's got notes from the notebook, from his own notes.
I would say Ralph has transcribed the majority. You won't necessarily have detailed pictures, but you will have transcribed the notebooks, the gist of the notebook, so you can still access the details of it.
But we still got the photos that we developed from the camera.
Yep.
So we've not lost much, but we found out that the tablet is doing something. Or seems to be doing something, which is a bit weird.
So you're telling me that this book set itself on fire?
Well, no, I wouldn't say the book set itself on fire, but something set the book on fire.
I agree with that, but I can't imagine that Frank. I think Frank's message was sort of garbled when it came through.
So you are denying the mythos. I like it.
You can't explain it in any real sense.
I mean, the heat in this place would be enough to set anybody on fire, to be fair, but...
Yeah, but...
It has to be a bit hotter than this for paper in a sealed box, though.
It's the fact that there's a lot of protection things about that we've been saying, yeah, okay, they're trying to ward something away or seal something in.
Now, fortunately...
We've not been taking it seriously.
Yeah, you can absolutely deny it, Joseph. There's no issue with denying it.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, the other two, you can believe it or not. There's no impact because you didn't witness the event.
Yeah.
Poor old Frank is wibbling a little bit.
He's going to try and fly himself without the plane.
Yeah, this is where we find out Frank has actually got a descendant called Murdoch. Yeah. That's where he went howling mad.
He has suffered a little bit of sanity loss and a little bit of stability loss.
It sounds like we need to find more of these tablets. Does that mean we're going to go up in flames? How does the mythology work?
Ralph's not sure.
Well, whatever it is, with the lapseness of concentration, or maybe he'd left a magnifying glass pointing at the book or something strange like that.
But with the lid shut, it shouldn't have made any difference.
Well, there may be a keyhole for light to get through. Who knows? But anyway, we've lost the book, which is a big blow. But at least you've got the notes and things, haven't you, Alfred?
We do, yeah.
Sorry, Ralph. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, maybe you should keep the tablet with them, just to be on the safe side in the future.
Could be that it's affected it because there was the name in there. Things were named, weren't they?
They were. But at the same time, be glad you never took the two objects far enough away for this to happen while you're in midair.
Yeah.
I've been very careful asking you regularly where everything is.
Yeah.
The passage on the Dow, secured. You take the items with you that you feel necessary. You arrange for items that you don't think you need to be left in the Hotel International. You jump on the boat and you spend the best part of sort of 24 hours heading down to Mercer Fatma.
I'll be watching the coastline and things for the type of wildlife that's in the area, so I know what to keep an eye out for.
Again, you arrive at Mercer Fatma. Sort of. Where is my. There it is. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the 26th of November. The town of Mercer Fatma is a much smaller version of a much smaller place than Massan. It does have it has a port. The majority of the things in the port are small downs. There's a couple of slightly larger steamer boats, but nothing bigger than that. There are some signs of Italian military presence, army presence here, but it is not anywhere near as big as the presence that you saw in Massa. Arriving in Mercer Fatma, you realize that this is going to be challenging. There are even less people here that speak Italian. Majority of them people speak local language. You will need to source a guide, probably an English-speaking guide. Oh, excuse me. And a place to stay.
Well, I think first and foremost is a place to stay. And then we can work on the rest from there. Possibly my thoughts are the best people to speak English would be around by the ports.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Anyone that's touting for business, like advertising themselves on guides and things.
Ralph is very, it doesn't take Ralph too long to kind of, his ear for things kind of pricks up, and he can hear what is clearly a Western European twang to somebody speaking what you think is the local language. You grab their attention, and it is indeed but it's an Italian gentleman who speaks fluent English as well as the fluent native language and Italian. And striking up a conversation, he is very willing, for a fee of course, to act as your local guide. He takes you to a somewhat dilapidated, sort of sand-blasted building, which he tells you is the local sort of hotel. Not the best in town, but the only one in town. Sorry, not the best in the region, the only one in town. And you check yourselves in. It's one step up from from Joseph's perspective. It's one step up from a flea pit. Not the nicest place, but certainly Alfred. It beats sleeping in the trenches.
Yeah.
And Ralph, yeah, it's a bit of a flea pit. It's definitely not as good as your kind of loft above your shop, where you sometimes sleep. The food though is okay, nothing fancy, but you can enjoy some food. You still have a couple of hours sort of left in the day before night falls, and like many of these parts of the world, night falls very quickly. Your guide, an Italian gentleman named, he's named Jonas. Yonas. Kind of he says he'll wait down in the lobby area for the rest of the day. If you need him, just call him.
Okay.
Very quickly, Ralph kind of chats to the people behind the front desk. There are no local maps. You've brought a map of the bigger region that you managed to get from the Hotel International, but there are no kind of focused maps on this area. This is certainly not a place that very many travelers come to. Using Jonas's help, you are able to discover that what else? Once the CMC kind of withdrew from the potash mining business here, the local population kind of dried very swiftly. There are a lot of buildings in Mersa Fatma that are empty and run down because of this. CMC withdrew from the area, but they did leave a small caretaker group of individuals, like an administrator and some workers. And as I say, you learn that the two biggest buildings in the town are technically still owned by Mirza Fatma, by CMC, including the rail yard, which does have, Jonas is sure it still has working engines in, but the CMC don't operate anything on the line.
Okay.
The Eritrean and Ethiopian desert in the area inland from Mirza Fatma is scrub desert lowland, hotter than hot. And you are warned away from going there. Certainly, it's a place that locals tend to stay away from. And so when locals stay away, the advice is for any foreigners to stay away.
Clearly, that means we're going there then.
Yeah, well, we've got to go through that to get to the law, haven't we? That's basically where it is.
Yeah, we just won't travel in the midday sun.
No, maybe travel on a train. Maybe we can get the use of one.
On sort of talking to Jonas about Dalol, he tells you, what little he knows about the place. It's about 50 miles southish from Mirza Fatma, across the desert. A very small population. He says from his perspective, he doesn't think there's any more than sort of 20, 25 people in total living there. But there's no road that goes to Dalol village. There is a camel track that often gets covered and hidden by shifting sand. Or you could, once upon a time when it was running, take the rail line from the CMC warehouse to the railhead terminal at Iron Point, which is no more than 2 or 3 miles away from Dalol village.
That's what I was thinking. I nearly put a point into riding as well, but camels, not so much. I still think the train is probably the best bet.
It tells you that the rail line runs near a small village called Kaluli, which is close to Iron Point, a good place to jump the train and try and find an onward guide. Jonas tells you that whilst he worked the railway at the height of CMC's presence and helped mine the potash, he's not that familiar with the area. And then he sort of says, and besides, I imagine it's all very different since the eruption.
What's eruption?
Why? The volcanic eruption that happened in 1926. Rumour has it destroyed an archaeological dig that was taking place in the area.
Of course it did. Brilliant.
So we're heading to a dig that no longer exists.
Does anybody have geology?
See, these are all things I thought of taking, but I had no reason to. I've not done anything with them.
Have you got it?
I have it.
The Afar region, which is kind of where Dalol is situated, is part of an active volcanic, violent tectonic area. And so volcanic eruptions are not uncommon in this area.
So we travelled halfway across the world for a dig site that no longer exists.
Yes, the Black Mountain.
He says the dig site might not exist, but the volcano does.
It was potentially 2 people at the dig site that we were hoping to find as well. Were there any survivors from the dig site, do you know of?
He kind of shrugs his shoulders. I don't know.
Well, hang on. We've had correspondence from heirs, and I thought we had correspondence from Akuma after 1926. Or am I wrong by thinking that?
You certainly would have seen correspondence from Akuma after 1926.
Yeah.
I don't know about heirs, because heirs stopped writing, didn't he?
Correct.
I suppose that's the problem with digging on a volcano, is that if you dig in the wrong place, something's going to pop.
Again, this notebook is dated 1933. Or is that wrong?
What's that, sorry?
The notebook for as research notes says notebook for 1933 on it.
There you go.
We know some of the dates are wrong from this. Is that a wrong or a right one?
It might be a little bit wrong, but it doesn't.
Right.
It's not going to be like 7 years wrong.
Correct.
I'll tell you what, looking at the pictures, it's a beautiful place.
So well.
Yeah, the hot springs and everything.
All right. I think as the sun sets
Oh yeah.
on the 26th of November, giving you time to kind of mull over the things that you've learnt and consider your next actions, we'll call it a night.
Yeah, good call.
Awesome. I'm just looking at those lakes. Yeah, they're
Beautiful,
bizarre.
aren't they? Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
bizarre.
It's salt. And apparently it chucks up 1,000, is it 1,000 tons a year of this potash?
Wow.
It almost looks like it's another planet.
Yeah.
Cool, isn't it?
Birthplace of humanity. Allegedly.
So we don't have to worry about the cultists. We're going to die via falling through the floor. Just looking at it, it's a thin crust over half of it.
Yeah, it's a thin crust.
Corruption.
Yeah. It's a thin crust that goes into mud. Have you seen a Top Gear one where they try to find... I can't remember. Anyway, they go across exactly this place.
I was thinking of that one. Yeah.
And that's what this is, potash, yeah.
Isn't it the one where they had to take all the weight off the cars?
Yeah, because it was just breaking the crust.
Yeah.
And I think they had to wear a silly jumper as well. But no, absolutely stunning place.
Yeah.
You almost think that these are actual pictures, but people have touched them up with filters.
Yeah, but they're not. That's a scary thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm trying to look at one where with airs waving behind a rock going, I'm over here!
I found that one.
Oh.
Someone there in t-shirt, shorts and blue shoes.
Where's Wally?
Well, you'll have to wait and see if
Yes.
is hiding behind a rock and waving at you saying, hello, I'm over here.
Thank you for tonight, Ed. That was really, really good.
We'll see someone walking towards us. That looks like something out of Doctor Who, and it'll be airs after surviving.
With an ood face. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
No,
Won't
that's
we?
Thursday. That's Thursday with the brain, with the mind flayers.
What have I just watched recently with mind flayers in it? It was a trailer for something.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, Baldur's Gate 3, sorry. Yes. Oh, God.
So I started playing again the other day.
I'm going to purchase it.
Yeah.
The final version is supposed to be out next year. That's what they're saying. And all the core classes that they're releasing before the final game are out. So there's only Paladin and Monk. And they're coming on end game. But the other classes are out, but not all the subclasses. So, for example, you haven't got all the different cleric domains.
Yeah. I don't think they will, because I don't think
They've only got SRD.
They've only got SRD permission, so they won't bring anything that's not in SRD out.
Unless it's going to be something you're going to say, oh, but if you buy this with the extra add-on Ultimate Edition.
Unless Watts give them permission.
They'd have to make, or they can make their own up, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Like Celasta did.
Like Celasta.
Yeah.
Which made the best barbarian ever.
Oh, did you see the post I put in earlier on?
Vampire.
One of the things I found yesterday in Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, the cucumber thing.
Yeah,
the salami stick.
Salami. It's an actual weapon as well, as it's got stats for improvised weapons, which they've brought in with the barbarian class.
Thing is,
so you can actually attack someone with it.
If you've seen a lot of martial arts films, you'll have seen salami used at some point.
Yeah. Oh, they brought gnomes into it.
Last time I saw a salami being used, it wasn't a martial arts film.
No.
Sure, it's a bit spicy.
It's a bit of an animal.
Yeah, but was it a big fat salami, or was it like a pepperami?
It wasn't a pepperami, no. A little bit spicy.
In the game I played earlier on, I was playing Aserion, who's the vampire NPC.
Yeah.
And I snuck up to a thief at a camp. There was a load of brigands around it. Picked the guy's pocket and then got spotted by someone across. And next thing you know, they're all standing around you, threatening you, saying that this is our place. And all that type of thing. And one of the options at the bottom was just grin, showing your fangs. You did that, and they all suddenly back off. It's like, it's okay, we're leaving. I thought, I've got to start a fight here. And it's like, that's all he did. They all backed off.
That's
like,
really good.
Brilliant way of doing it.
My game tomorrow night, it looks like I'm going to play 3 characters.
Oh.
Ouch.
So my
You're
current
No,
I'm playing in it. My current character, which I'm going to retire because I'm not enjoying it. My new character, which I'm going to bring in, and an old character of mine that got trapped in Ravenloft.
Is that Livy?
Livy, yeah. So she's going to make a reappearance.
Trapped in Ravenloft.
Well, no, she didn't get trapped in Ravenloft. What actually happened was we killed Strahd.
So you're now running a Raven.
And I accepted by accident. I misunderstood something that I was being told in my head, and I accepted basically to rule over the land. And so, for a brief period of time, my character was the Lady of Ravenloft. And then, as always happens, Strahd comes back because you don't actually ever kill him. And so, there's been a kind of in Seabor's kind of world, there's been a running battle now between Livy and Strahd in Ravenloft. And so she's going to make an appearance. But I'm going to play a Dampier rogue soul knife.
Oh, okay.
And so the Dampier is a specific Barovian lineage. So she's been bitten by a vampire and it's awakened her powers.
It's one system I've not used is Ravenloft.
I've played it once.
I love the artwork.
Second edition, I think it was second or third, and I was a Blade Singer. And the guy who normally runs our games, he was playing a cleric in there that started getting a little bit fanatical and wanting to burn people at the stake. He basically was going evil and insane, turned the paladin on his side and the wizard on his side, and there was me and the bard that barely escaped with our lives, with them turning on us.
Nice.
Like,
I remember I only played Ravenloft once. It was at an all-nighter when I was like late teens. Went up to my mates, and so we got there in the evening. It's like winter time, so it was dark. But it was just light enough that we could see at the point where we got taken into Ravenloft. He lived on the edge of the moors,
And a mist came
A
down.
mist had come off the moors. It was outside.
Oh my God.
Oh fuck!
Mum, pick me up.
Your mum is not here right now.
Yeah. And bring a load of garlic with you.
Yeah. Right, guys. Hope tonight was good. Hope you enjoyed it.
Fantastic.
Very
As always.
Tonight was just about transitioning you over to Ethiopia, so
Yeah.
not a lot. There was no plan to have anything major happen. We'll get into Ethiopia Spine next week properly, so you'll learn what's happened.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Thank
you guys.
you again. And see
Yeah,
you all Thursday.
Watch you all on Thursday.
See you on Thursday. Yeah.
See you later, folks.
Night,
Take
guys.
care. Bye.
Night.